it's really nice to start with something that's really inspiring rather than a piece of jewellery that's I don't want to make. I'm Lisa and this is Stoned and Hammered. I make jewellery, and in fact I make all the jewellery in this shop, but I also have a few other little bits and pieces that would be a real treat for somebody as well. What I really like to do, especially when I come back after a weekend, is to start work on something that's been in my mind for a while and something that I feel really creative about. I've probably been for a walk before I come into work and I've seen things that give me inspiration, and it could be anything from, obviously lots of my jewellery is based on leaves and trees and flowers and things like that, but it could just be a piece of architecture that I saw on the walk into work. First thing that made me really want to make jewellery was actually this bracelet, which I happen to have on because I pretty much always have it on, and I'd looked everywhere for a bracelet just like this and couldn't find it in the shops. I'd looked online, although back then there really wasn't anything online, and so I thought, you know, can't find one, so I'll have a go at making one. Every single piece of jewellery has hammering involved in it somewhere, and actually, yeah, it's quite nice to kind of get into the groove with the hammering and have a rhythm. And so, yeah, I hadn't thought about rhythms and music, but yeah, I think you're right. It's quite important. Most of it's got a bit of an interesting story. Actually, my little acorn, and most people who've been in the shop have seen that I always have acorns around, and in fact, I pick them up from a famous oak tree in Norfolk, Ket's Oak, which was the meeting place before a big rebellion against it was in 1549, and Robert Kett led a rebellion against the enclosure of common land, which was essentially making ordinary people, if they didn't have any money, they were called serfs, but it was essentially exactly the same as slavery. And if you couldn't buy a piece of land, you had to work for the landowners, and yeah, they wouldn't give you anything unless they wanted to. And so anyway, the oak tree is still there, and it's called Ket's Oak. And the shop's got a bit of a connection with Kett's Rebellion because the 16,000 people marched from the countryside and they camped just the other side of the cathedral and staged a protest for about a week until the government sent the army in to disband them. And so that's the story behind my little acorns. Yeah, obviously Elm Hill is such a historic place that hopefully the buildings and everything's, the cobbles and the trees and the church and everything are going to stay the same in 100 years' time, 200, 300 years' time. People are going to be looking back, and instead of talking about the monks and the nuns and Father Ignatius, they're going to be talking about James the taxidermist across the road, and Lisa the jeweller at Stoned and Hammered, and the guys at Truman's, the barbers, and the girls at the hairdressers. You know, you really feel like you're a part of history here.